The structural integrity of the sea defence at Mahaicony is a priority of the PPPC administration. While large sums of money were expended under the previous administration to repair the damaged Mahaicony Sea Defence, residents were still affected. Late last year, heavy spring tides breached the sea defence, costing farmers and other residents millions in losses. Our team ventured into a number of the affected communities in Region 5 and spoke with residents who shared their experiences following the collapse of the sea defence. In Prospect Village, school teacher Miss AYOLA Daniels reflected on her harrowing experience.
In late September last year and early October going on to the month end, I had great losses in terms of my layers and my meat bird. I had to take the meat bird up in the veranda. There were babies and different size of chicken, but I was affected more with the layers because they had to evacuate the pen. I had to put them under the house, and eventually they stopped laying. I couldn't get eggs from them because they were stressed out. Some of them lost, a lot of them died. I lose over more than $300 and something $1,000 in terms of the babies and the layers and some bigger ones. So it affected me a whole lot. I couldn't go to work I was in the house for 11 days. I was upstairs, I couldn't come out because the water was very high. So I couldn't go to work, I was in. And till when the water go down a little, even the long boots couldn't help me. So I was affected a great lot, and then I become so stressed that I didn't know what else to do, and so confused that I hadn't hope. So what next? What will happen? So we tried to do some work for this year in terms of do some more land filling of the land.
Ayola's husband remains optimistic that the emergency works at the foreshore will hold up against the upcoming spring tides.
Just hoping that everything hold and we didn't get the kind of damage that we get the last time.
Just a few houses away, rice farmer BERTRAM Robertson shared his experience.
The sea defense mess me up seriously. I mind livestock. If you could look at my yard, I had a lot of golden apple trees and so on. Bearing trees and things. I had sorry trees and different things. The water came one time, so flood up all this concrete and something full of water. Flood up, damage up. My livestock them like me goat them and so next morning you wake up you find them afloat. Then dead out. Me lose a couple of well goat and so on. I'm hoping that body they could try to get it done or see how much they can get finished before this next high tide, because me never glad for water come up my yard.
Farmer Mr. Dudsley Nobriga said he too suffered tremendous losses.
All the crops I had completely wiped out, and the soil is still acid because of the heavy salt content, right? We even get a soil test. If a soil test is carried out, you see a lot of deficiency in the soil, right? And recently, in this rainy season, I tried a crop on the crop field.
Mr. Nobriga remains hopeful that the new sea defense works will hold up during the spring tides.
We are hoping that the works will be completed on time, and it would be completed in a way that it would improve the situation here, right? It wouldn't affect people, that there wouldn't be a reoccurrence of this situation again.
Just next door, we also spoke to Miss MERLYN, FARINA.
We plant rice, we ain't get to cut it. We ain't get to cut it. When you got to cut the rice now, the rice falling down. Because the salt water take it, it can't cut in water.
What is your hope with the works that they're doing?
Well, I hope it would be successful. I hope it will be successful, because me and Eve will find another tide like that come back again.
One of the owners of a grocery store in Mahaicony added that last year's defense breach was unlike anything she ever witnessed.
In the space of half an hour, the water was into the house. When we saw the region people, they come, they say, they've been in at the park, right? And they said, Mom, move all the electricity, please. And by the time we could have carried up the freezer, the fridge upstairs and everything, the water was in the house. And it come to a certain height. that we had was to move all the stuff in the glass case and so on.
Meanwhile, another farmer, Mr. Suresh Balkaran, explained that the 2019 collapse of Mahaicony Sea Defence took a toll on his family.
It wasn't easy because everything I had to move out, pack up. Me had to carry this meeting there from the household thing and carry until that unity and left on the family.
So how are you bouncing back on your feet now?
Right now, I can't move here right now because what little me get, I live and eat.
Mr. Balkaran has shown determination to provide for his family by growing cash crops just at the front of his property. He anticipates that with time he will be able to produce more crops. Since the PPPC administration took office, both Minister of Public Works, the Honourable Bishop Juan Edgil, and Minister within the ministry, the Honourable Deodat Indar, have visited the breached sites, calling for contractors with existing contracts to swiftly conclude the job. The ministers maintained that the people of Mahaicony can no longer wait for contractors to pick up the slack and that citizens deserve value for their taxpayers' dollars. In September, M&B Contractors was awarded a $168 million contract to execute emergency works along the Mahaicony foreshore. This contract complemented works being done by Tulsi Prasad Quarries Incorporated, ANS General Contracting Incorporated, BK International Incorporated, and Colin Talbot Contracting Services. Here now is District Engineer Stephen Nascimento.
The emphasis has been along a 9 km stretch. What we're doing is the extreme east and west of the location. We are constructing a full riprap. Those areas that we're constructing the full riprap is to mitigate the loss of mangroves that we're experiencing. So it's more or less preemptive as well as urgent in those areas. In between the extreme east and western end, we're doing upgraded works. Where the temporary boulder slope that was originally constructed, we're converting it to the full riprap.
The 500 meters of recently completed works by ANS General Contracting Incorporated under a contract signed in August was commended by Mr. Nascimento, while admitting that the operation at the foreshore has not been without its challenges. With particular reference to the raging Atlantic Ocean, the district engineer remains confident that the outstanding works will strengthen the sea defense.
We have sent out some tenders recently to complete a section that is vulnerable, and most of the other contractors who are ongoing to complete their project, we're more or less zoning into their work program and ensuring that they stick within the timelines of the contract.
He added that the works completed thus far are much different from those done earlier in the year since they are more long-term. Government has planned a series of river and sea defense works in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 under the 2020 emergency budget. This is in keeping with its commitment to Guyanese to strengthen a number of these failing structures.